Hi, my name's Danielle McKinnon.
Good. Hi, I'm Nina.
At Eat, Sleep, Ride, join the herd isn't just an invitation. It's a call to become part of something truly transformative. By joining us, you step into a community where everyone belongs.
Whether you're here to learn, support, or simply be part of a welcoming space, you'll find yourself part of our family. By joining us, you're stepping into a community where everyone belongs. Where neurodiverse young people, families, volunteers and supporters all come together in shared leadership and connection inspired by our horses. From hands-on care of our herd to sharing stories that inspire, every role matters.
Together, we nurture not only horses, but also resilience, confidence and meaningful connections.
If you believe in empowerment through community, healing through nature, and leadership that's shared, then this is the herd for you. Get involved by volunteering, supporting our programs, or simply spreading the word.
Visit eatsleeprides.org to learn more.
Because at Eat, Sleep, Ride, we don't just ride,
we rise together. Today we're doing another one of our podcast series and we're going to be talking about essentially a day in the life of horses. So what that takes from an on the grounds point of view and from a managerial point of view. So I've got Nina sat beside me just now. So do you want to explain to me what actually goes into looking after a horse morning to night?
Right. So horses take a lot of care and a lot of attention, paying attention to them. To me, the way I view these horses as someone who helps to run the yard on the ground is they are it's like you have a bunch of children that can't talk, they can't tell you if anything's wrong, but you have to just know, is there something wrong with them? Are they sore? What's going on? And that takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of responsibility. So from morning to night, you tend to have checks throughout the day of the horses, each and every horse. We have 18 horses on that yard. As you can imagine, the checks take a lot of time. And
so how does your day start then, if you were coming here?
You start the day, how we start our day here is we'll go and we'll often bring in all the horses. And as you're bringing them in, you have to check them over, see what they're like, cuts, bruises. A morning check is often one of the most important checks because there's been a whole night time of things that could have happened that you're not aware of. Yeah.
And what do we do when we bring them in then? What's the difference? What do we do specifically here with these horses? What's some of the first things we do?
Some of the first things that we tend to do when we bring the horses in is we'll pick out their feet. So no foot, no horse. That is a saying that is heard everywhere in the equestrian community. You have no foot, no horse. Feet are incredibly important. The first thing we will do is pick out their feet and put them in the stable. Make sure they're eating, drinking, and pooing and peeing. Those are 4 basics for every horse, every animal. Those are 4 very simple basics: eating, drinking, pooing, and peeing.
And what are we checking when we put them in the stable then? What do they need to have so they can fulfill?
They must have water, clean hay, clean water, and bedding.
Hi, my name's Amelia and I'm a volunteer here at ESR. So the yard I was originally at, which was in Dunbar, that's where I'm from, was shut down. And I tried some other yards round about there, but they just weren't doing what I wanted. And then I found ESR, and then first lesson I just absolutely loved it. And I loved the volunteering aspects of things rather than just the riding aspects, because I probably personally prefer the volunteering other than the riding. Just being with the horses and stuff. So I dream to have my own horse one day, and I would like to train to be an equine vet when I'm older. That's my dream job. So I'm always around horses, and that's just what makes me happy, really. So I would train to be a vet and then train to be an equine vet. So this is Cleo. She is a cob. She previously was overused a lot in common riding. And so somebody bought her after watching her in a common ride, and she's got really, really bad melanders on her legs, so her legs are quite bad. And she was really bad for in her common ridings, bucking and just bolting off a lot. So they left her for a year because of how bad her legs were, I'm pretty sure. But then she came to ESR, and and she was really nervous when they first got her. They couldn't school her, and she'd just turn away from you if you went in with a saddle, showing you that she was nervous. And it's only just recently that she's not been so nervous, like opened up kind of, which was quite recently. And now she is amazing, and now she's not as nervous. You can tack her up fine. She has little kids on her. She's amazing, aren't you? So she's not as nervous now. So when I had a big confidence knock about Christmas time, I'm pretty sure it was, I went on her, and I was so nervous the first time I ever rid her. I used to be such a nervous rider. But after that, we kind of just clicked. And like whenever I was sad, I'd just come to the yard and I'd see her like in the holidays and stuff. And she would never fail to put a smile on my face. So she's made a big difference to me, especially in my riding and on the ground stuff. ESR has actually got me talking about my feelings and stuff, because I find it really easier to talk with the horse. And I like to talk to the horses, because it's just like they won't judge. They're not gonna go talk about that they're not gonna just go speaking about that because they can't. So it just makes you feel safe speaking to them and like speaking around them and stuff. So if Dani'd went bust or something and she's had to close, she would get maybe put to an auction or something. So I would be really worried about her more than I would be about myself, because she's really helped me a lot at ESR.
The day-to-day basis is every single day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. If it's Christmas, your birthday, New Year's, you're here checking these horses.
Yep.
They must come first in your life. And on top of every day-to-day general activities that you do with them, you also have the extras. So getting their feet done by the farriers, dentists, vaccinations, but even things like clipping. So today, I've got to clip 2 horses because they are a bit uncomfortable. They have hair on their legs, which is called feathers, and that can make them itchy. So it's my responsibility to make sure they are maintained and kept on top of.
And what about if we're riding them? Do we have, what's their riding program like? Because you know what we've got these 18 horses in, and how do we structure a day? Because we do something every day. What might those activities look like? What might we do with them? Yeah.
So for our horses here, now not every yard does this the same way, but the way that we do things here and the way that I'd love for things to be done with horses all throughout the world is throughout, say, 2 weeks, every horse on this yard will be ridden properly multiple times. They will have fitness ridden. They will be schooled properly. They will have some relaxing walking hacks and just go out and enjoy being ridden. They will have massage days where we focus on them and their bodies. We will do, we have physios, so we will do a lot of body work with them, getting them to understand their body, move properly. It's not so much about how much a horse can move, how long can it run fast for, but is that technique right? And for that technique of a horse to be moving properly, they must be able to do the very simplest of things, as in pick up that leg while it's standing still. Yeah. And what we do on as a yard here is we make sure that they know how to stand in balance and turn their head to the side without having their body follow. Just the simplest activities.
Just that little bit of noticing. And what do you think about the physical bit of the work? If we were to think about some of the physical things.
So
Nina's in her favourite muck keep.
Obviously, working on a yard, that is an extremely physical job. My average steps on a day-to-day basis is 32,000. And if I get 32,000 a day, that's pretty normal. A lot of the time I'll be getting 48, 50,000, and that's just a day in the life of working on a yard. So you have to bringing all the horses in, going out and catching them, that's a lot of walking. And then you have jobs like mucking out, that'll get your shoulders properly sore. Sweeping, that's a tough one.
It's hard to teach people to sweep. You got to have sweeping lessons here.
We have a muck heap, which is extremely expensive to get taken away, so we make steps in that muck heap to make sure we can get all the poo, pee, bedding, everything that's dirty that's going in that muck heap is to the back. And one of the main jobs, which I love because it's such a good workout, and I'd love to be strong because being on a yard, you have to be strong. So I love the things that are really challenging because I know you can only get stronger from doing them. But shoveling up that muck heap, it's horrendous.
Back-breaking.
It's
Back-breaking.
yeah.
And then what sort of
Back-breaking
things?
work and carrying water containers.
Yeah.
Like that's a litre on each side of you. What I'll often do is if I have to feed a horse at the field, I make the feed, I tie the feed bucket around my neck, around the back of my neck with a rope so it's just dangling. And then I'll have 2 water containers full, 1 litre full, and I'll pick them up. And then I have to walk out to this field while carrying extra head collars, bucket of feed around my neck, and 2 water containers have to go up a huge hill and along for ages. And it gets to the point where your muscles are burning, it's some hard work working on a yard. And it's not just the physical work that it takes, but it's the resilience to the weather. We're in Scotland. We've got a lot of hard weather when it comes to the winter.
And we're by the coast.
And we're right off the coast. We get the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
On a day where there's no wind, we still have wind.
Yeah.
So imagine what it's like in those red weather warnings. We have sea foam flying off and hitting us while we're on the yard.
Yeah. The harm when it comes in.
Yeah. And it might sound hard for you all hearing this, hearing what it's like for us, but imagine doing that for an entire winter. And I swear, every day for an entire winter, you're out in the freezing cold. You're never not cold. Even when you're hot because you're working, you're still cold because it's -5 degrees outside or it's pouring it down. You get soaked to the bone. And the worst part, which I personally find this is one of the worst parts of it, other people might have different opinions, is when it's pouring with rain, absolutely hammering it down, but you're working so hard that you're taking all your layers off because you're sweating, and then you get soaked through because you've taken all your jackets off. You get soaked, and as soon as you stop, you are an ice cube. I will sit and my whole body will shiver.
Yeah.
And that is just a day on life.
And what about the fields and the tack and the rugs and
There's
what do we do in the fields?
So poo picking, that is a massive one. You have to pick up all the poo from the fields, checking the fencing.
Average
you know.
7 poos per horse every day. 18 horses.
Yes, it's a lot of poo. And
What else are we picking just now? What is
a
there?
lot of ragwort. So summertime, we love summer, but it comes with a lot of plants. So there's plenty of plants out there that are poisonous to horses, and a lot of them grow in the fields that we have the horses in. So we have to go around and pick all these plants before they grow and they can spread, and make sure there's nothing new growing in the fields, because we have huge, big grassy fields, things are going to grow. We have to keep on top of that. And one of the harder parts about horses especially is when horses are in a field, they are always in that field, they'll compact the soil. And when the soil is compacted, that's where weeds thrive. So more will grow. So the more you have horses on the field, the more weeds grow. So put your horses in a new field that's never had horses in, brilliant, there's no weeds, give it a couple of years, it'll be filled with them.
And what about, we go through this thing, don't we? It's like, what rug to put on, what fly spray to put on, what to put on their sarcoids, what to put on their manes, what to put on their legs, what supplements to give them.
It never ends.
What training equipment, what tack.
Especially when it comes to having 18 horses, each horse is different. You can't buy one fly spray. So simple thing like flies, some horses might react to them, have allergic reactions. I speak personally from that experience. My horse is allergic to flies. It's very challenging in the summer.
Yep.
But she's also allergic to a bunch of different types of fly sprays and fly creams.
Yep.
So you might have 3 different fly sprays and gels. Some horses might not like fly spray. They don't like the feeling of it being sprayed, so you have to buy a gel or a cream, where for other horses, a gel and a cream doesn't do a good enough job because it doesn't cover more of them.
Yeah, so I suppose, we still show up every day, don't we?
Yeah.
There's a reason.
So after saying all that, I absolutely love a challenge. That's me personally. I love the challenge of it. And I wouldn't have any other job in the world. I'd so much rather be out there in the freezing cold, in the pouring rain, looking after these beautiful animals. I'd so much rather be out there than in an office. That's me personally, but
you wouldn't
it's
change
so
it for the world,
rewarding.
though. Yeah.
The horses make every bit of it
Yeah.
worth it. So I have gone over the day-to-day basis of being on a yard physically, managing that yard on the ground. Danny, could you tell us more about what it's like to manage the yard from a manager point of view?
Yeah.
Running costs, emails, funding.
Yeah. So yeah, I think my friends say to me they've never met anyone, or the amount of things that you can do in a day. So you know myself that I probably bring in 100 hours a week, and my day is on the ground still. So that could be from writing up the boards, teaching a lesson, managing the website, writing all the policies and procedures, all the funding applications, answering every email, updating all the social media, taking all the videos, working out the horses' plans, ordering the stock, knowing what we're missing. So things like fuel for the quad, things like feeds for the horses, things like hay for the horses, shavings for the horses, managing the actual breakages of things. So when something gets broken, it needs to be fixed. Things need to be repaired when we have storms, finding funding so we can be inclusive and accessible. People don't really recognise the cost. You know, for years, I'm not sure if I've ever taken, I think I worked out one day and I think I earn about, is it 86 pence an hour? If we were to break it down on what I put into here. And I think I can be sat till 1, 2 in the morning doing emails, because the reality is things just change within a day, and that's quite seasonal as well. Cost-wise, you know, I know that every single horse here with the cost of living, it's about £9,000 per horse a year to run that. So that's just the horse cost alone, and that's farriers, feed, rugs, bridles, physio, social media, pictures. Staff costs last year alone were £87,000. That's contractors, PAYE, seasonal workers. Then you have your marketing budget, which is very, very small for us because we don't have a big marketing budget, and it is a bit of a challenge, which we know, because we don't have, you know, something fancy to put into that. We have just general costs. So that could be from buying a wheelbarrow to buying paper for the printer, to buying pens or to whiteboard markers. Then we have things like the costs of subscriptions. So we're members of the Association of British Riding Schools, we're members of the Scottish Care Alliance, we're members of Youth Borders, so we can make sure people get enough opportunities, but they all come at a cost too. So we run it about probably, God, I can't say it in proper words, so 243,000 a year to maintain, and that's still not enough, because the background of the horses, because we take on rescue horses, we don't have enough money to go out and buy a £7,000 horse. But what we do have is the knowledge and expertise to buy a cheaper horse, or to save horses from slaughter, or that have been auctioned off on Facebook, or just looking for a home. So the actual management, I mean, and you know this yourself, like this, it is exhausting. But again, I couldn't do anything else. But I'm constantly trying to find ways to work in partnership, or to ease the burden, or just to help people understand the reality of you working a job. I mean, we were talking about this one day, weren't we? And we were laughing about the amount of times that, you know, in our lifetime that I've, like, don't know, fallen over and off the quad bike, or like I'm in the quad bike bust and that cost me £1,800 to fix, because the reality of employing people is they break things all the time. And then we were laughing about the amount of times we've fallen off on electric fences and been bolted with and dragged off. I mean, they're not normal conversations, are you? People don't go into work and go, oh yeah, do you remember that time, like, you got kicked and you landed on the floor and then your horse ran off with you? And then you laugh about it. But that's the reality, the physicality. And then on top of that, I know you've struggled at times, the amount of clientele we get in, from an 8-year-old grandma to a baby, to a 5-year-old, to a client who's quite high up. Customer satisfaction is really challenging. You know, I don't like that horse, I don't like the size of that horse, so can we do this better? No one answered me. It's really hard all the time to be everything to everyone. And I think because the perception of horses is there's just not really any understanding of what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, we're sat here today, aren't we? And Cooper, one of our horses, has come in and his brothers kicked him, and we've had to phone the vet, and he's been colicking. And it's another thing you have to think about. On top of that, it's a £700 bill probably. You know, last week, Buttons, her seasonal asthma came to light, and she started colicking. So now she has to live in the bike shed. She can't be near any hot water. She has to have cold rags put over her. She has to have her hay soaked. She can't go in the fields because she breaks her electric fence and kicks down fencing and gets her muzzle off. So on top of all of this, and then added to what we have here, we now have the chickens. the garden, the weeding, trying to grow our own vegetables, because the reality is without bringing in different revenue streams, you can't survive on horse riding alone anymore. People don't want to pay really the cost that it costs to come and ride a horse.
Or I think another way to possibly word that is that you can't survive the yard can't survive purely on horse riding if it's done correctly. So a yard can survive on purely horse riding if horses are being ridden multiple times a day by multiple different people for different lessons, and if those horses aren't getting turnout because people aren't paying to cover the cost of having a well-maintained field, or if they aren't getting physios or saddle fitters, they just get any bit of tack that goes on and looks all right. You can run a yard purely off horse riding if
it has to be done in a bit.
It has to be either done
in a very
different way, or you get born into money, or somehow you have loads of money if you have the money to maintain a yard like that.
People generally, it's traditionally you have your own land, or you've been born into it, or there's something there. And I think the challenge we have is we will never have a horse we'll never have a horse tacked up for somebody because they're sentient, so it's part of the process. And we won't work our horses. I mean, I feel awful if they do 2 lessons a day, and that's very, very rare. And they get 2 days off a week where a human being doesn't come near them. And we've actually got signs we'll put on their doors to say, please leave me alone. I've had a physio today. Unless you're changing my water or changing my hay, I actually just want to be left alone. So they're not doing.
Yes.
But yeah, it's how we do it. And I think this is why we've had to build the garden. We've had to take out massive loans to build the site. We've had to develop new services. And I do think the leadership service, working with the horses on the ground, is a way to really promote the legacy of the horse, to teach people about horses. They don't need to come and ride, and actually reduces the burden on the horse's workload. So they're still being seen as something important and impactful in people's lives.
Hi, my name's Ava Glover and I'm a volunteer here at Eat Sleep Ride. I started coming here when I was really little. I was like 6 or 7, and yeah, I've just been here ever since. This is Jem. We got her from, well, we don't really know who we got her from, but she used to be a little girl and she got too big for her, so then she sold her. And we also know that she was on a show jumping yard, so they did pin her head down, because you see how her head's quite high up, so they pinned it down. So she got quite scared from that, and she's lost her front teeth here. She's really funny, and she's really sweet and stuff, and she just really likes her cuddles, and she just makes me laugh. So I started riding her in April last year, because I'd just been riding all the other ponies, but then I started riding Jem. And yeah. I mean, I didn't really choose to start riding Jem, so I used to ride one of the other ponies, but he wasn't really teaching me enough. I couldn't really learn as much on him. And then I got onto Jem, and she was quite a big challenge for me, because I was only just learning back then, but she's helped my riding so much. So at the start, we learned to trust each other now. We trust each other a bit more, because at the start, we were both really nervous of each other. So we didn't really know what to think of each other, but now we quite like each other. Well, I think she likes me. Yeah, and she got all my confidence back, because I used to be really scared to ride, and I'm not. If ESR was closed tomorrow, I'd be quite upset, because it's one of my favourite places, and I can see all my friends here. And I think if Jem was to leave somewhere, she'd get a really nice home, because she's a really nice pony. She wouldn't be naughty or anything. She's really good. She'd find a good home. But yeah, I'd be really upset if it shut, because it's my favourite place. And all my friends are here. And I spend my whole summer here.
Thank you, Dani. I hope you've all enjoyed listening to our podcasts.
And thank you, Nina, for being part of this journey with me and for the reason you're in my life. And if you'd like to learn more, I'd love you to check us out at www.eatsleeprides.org. At Eat Sleep Ride, our entire model is rooted in biomimicry. Just as horses share leadership and take turns resting, we believe in community care, resilience, and interdependence. Nature teaches us how to lead, listen, and thrive. Our off-grid site, built on a reclaimed landfill site, mirrors this philosophy. Powered by the sun, permaculture, sensory gardens, rewilded spaces, every aspect of ESR is designed to regenerate. And at the heart of it all are the young people that we support. Because they are the next generation of land stewards, change makers and leaders. They deserve the spaces to grow, belong and shape their own futures. Young people don't just find healing here, they lead it. Eat, Sleep, Ride is more than just a place. It's a movement grounded in community, nature and hope.